My name is Seini Gock. I am a massage therapist, and I have been doing this for about more than 20 years. It's been my passion. So I've actually opened up a spa back in the days, some 20 plus years, and then now I've kind of like gone into sports, offering my services to rugby teams, international teams, and currently I'm with the Drua franchise, contracted to the Drua doing massages for the boys, working alongside the physios with William Kung. Yes.
Your job is not the same as the job of the physio. You wanna clarify that?
Yes, no. We are a masseur.
What do you do apart from what the physios does?
We do more of the flushing for pre-games and after the games, or for captain's run before the game day. We only just do flushing and just prep them up. And apart from the physios do a deeper part of work onto their bodies, whereas I just come in with my team. I've got 15 girls on board, and just set up all the beds and do all the massages, especially when their bodies are really tired, and a lot of contact. We don't fix the muscles or anything. We flush, and we just relieve muscle tensions. Yes.
Why is it important for a highly trained athlete to have their muscles in probably the right tone or the right condition?
Yes.
Before and after a match?
Usually we do a lot of vigorous movements just to wake the muscles up. We don't make the muscles sleep. It's more into sports and remedial massages, mainly on the calf and hemis and quads. That's what the boys need more, with more of a deep tissue. So with our Fijian boys with big muscles, oh man, it's quite tough on the girls' hands. But after care, we actually get the girls to do ice bath on their hands. That's basically what we do with all the rugby teams. In fact, all the international teams. I've done Moana Pacifica. I've done Melbourne Rebels, and I've done many others. I can't keep track. Yeah.
The move to join the Fijian Drua camp, how did this came about? Which teams were you with before you got engaged to a Fijian Drua?
Yeah, before I got engaged with Fijian Drua, William Kung got me involved with the Flying Fijians. So from there, that's when the Drua franchise started, and he got me in, and we got subcontracted to that team ever since to currently now. Yeah, which is really awesome for us because it's actually a seasonal work for me. And straight after this season with the Drua, I'll probably hop onto the Flying Fijians, and then I go out and I do resorts. I'm a spa consultant as well out at the Tokariki Island Resort and Wai'a Island Resort. And then coming up for the season is Return to Retreat in Samoa, setting up their spa. Yeah, so I'm basically everywhere. I'm not in one place. Offer my services where I can, and with the passion that I have, I impart that into girls. Mainly, I'm on a mission, recruiting single mothers and women that have their husbands stay home, but they are all qualified, been through the school, got paperwork. But what I actually do is I invite them on board from everywhere. All my girls are from different resorts in Nandi, and some are not workers as well. So what I do is I train them and upskill them to the techniques where it is relevant for sports massages. Yes.
Are the girls enjoying the new area that they are venturing into?
Oh, absolutely. One was that they're very passionate about it, and also it's an added income for them because I've increased their rate compared to where they are, and they're quite happy about it, and they're excited, and especially when it's rugby, it's a new field for them, coming out of their comfort zone or wherever they come from, and to actually meet the stars as well, and basically all that. It's more like passion for them. Yeah.
I understand from a previous discussion we had that apart from Fiji, you also have connection in Samoa.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about that a bit?
Oh, yes. My dad is Samoan. He's a Samoan man. So my grandfather, he's from Upolu Lefanga in Samoa. So back in the days when he was young, he kind of stored away from Samoa. He was only about 17. He stored away and he came to Fiji, and he landed in Rotuma because he heard that there was some Samoans living in Rotuma. He came in search of his uncle, his father's brother that lived in Fiji, and he ended up in Rotuma and married my grandmother from Saleh. So from then onwards, he had his children. He had 5 boys and 1 girl, and then my father is the youngest out of all of them. So I have one auntie that is surviving at the moment. But then over the years, we are 3rd generation, and we wanted to know more about our identity and where we come from. And then recently we got connected through my Auntie Lomi, Sua Gilchrist. She owns a resort in Samoa in Upolu Lefanga. It's called Return to Retreat Resort. So I came to New Zealand because she invited me for her 70th birthday. So I thought, okay, me coming over was a real opening for not only me, for all the 3rd generation back at home, all my cousins and all the generation down onwards, because it kind of, our Samoan heritage has been watered down and no one talked about it. So I came to New Zealand, and we recently celebrated my auntie's birthday, and it was a great gathering because then I got to meet up with all the aunties and all the uncles and all the cousins, and it's so exciting for me being here because that was so precious for us and the people, especially my cousins back at home. And it kind of brought about closure for us. That, yes.
Now, all these factors that you have been mentioning, your Fijian side, your Samoan side, then the rugby context comes in. Manu Samoa, Flying Fijians, and then Moana Pacifica, Fijian Rua. How does this all play out in your role, in that job you're doing? How does it ignite passion in you in doing that job? Before we go to the core of our discussion today, which is spinal injuries.
Yes. I don't know. I just love what I do.
I mean, you have bits of Samoan, you have Fijian,
Yes.
and then there's this Moana Pacific and Fijian Rua, and then Flying Fijians and Manu Samoa.
Yeah.
So you're sort of in between.
In between, yes.
These 2 poles of thoughts every time. So how do these interplay when you come to do your job?
Well, I'm just neutral in everything. Like, you know, a big part of me when I went in for the draw, it just, they're my, they're my brothers. They're like my sons, basically. And then when Moana Pacifica came in last year, and then my team got to massage them, it kind of got me connected with them because of my Samoan side.
And there was one Fijian
And there was
or 2. I think 2. I think was it
actually one
Rayasi? No?
Yes, I met
And
Rayasi.
who's the other guy? The one that's playing for Otago Highlanders now. Forgot his name. Tabatabanawa.
Yes. So I've met them all, and I was really proud to tell them that I got Samoan blood as well.
Having that heritage in you.
Yes.
Okay.
I was really proud that I could say that.
Yeah.
but then I was neutral and I stood in the middle, ensuring that everything is
very important to be neutral.
Very important. And I learned that from my husband, Patrick Gock, who is the referees coach in the committee for the Fiji Rugby Union, that when he stood, he made sure that his team is neutral, especially in the Skipper Cup. And if referees have been picked from different clubs,
districts and clubs,
he's made sure that he tells them that you got to be neutral, no matter which district you come from. You got to be neutral. So I kind of learned from there.
It's an art to master, right? It's an
art to master, but I love my Fijians and I love my Samoan heritage.
And been there all the time for both.
Being there, yes, which is a really bonus for me. Yeah.
Now I have a handbook here which says supporting spinal injuries in Samoa and Fiji, and I believe that you delivered what can you call it? Was it a message or just an acknowledgement of being here last night? You want to talk about this spinal injuries in Samoa and Fiji, and how did your role came into it? And I believe that must be one of those auspicious events last night,
yes,
which you're part of. You wanna talk about it?
Well, I was caught off guard last night to actually thank everyone for their contribution. I just went up and just thanked everyone on behalf of the Fijians in Fiji for their contribution last night towards Fiji for the spinal. I didn't realize that, this was really a serious case back at home, and I'm going to have to go back home and have a look into this because no one has actually talked about it. There wasn't any awareness. There's no awareness about it.
Yeah, we hardly talk about it.
Yeah, not that I know of, but I'm in the rugby area. I've never heard about it. I've just heard about, someone's, got hit.
Injured.
Someone's got injured, but the aftermath, the aftercare, no one actually, followed up. But, I'm just going to have to go and have a look at it and see. And it's just encouraging to come to such a gala dinner fundraiser for spinal injury for Samoa and Fiji to find out that there's not enough facilities for rehab and care back at home.
It's a sad picture because when our boys are out there doing their thing in the field, we are all behind them.
Yes.
But after that moment, when that injury sets in, and then he's no longer known in the limelight, then we don't know where they are. But hearing from you, I heard that you were watching a few videos last night, and it was...
Yes, it was quite emotional. It was quite very emotional. I had tears. I thought of my son, who will be going into a local club in Nandi, and it just scares me, to see that there is such things like injuries and where to from there. It was very emotional.
What were some of the things that were raised last night? Probably some issues that are common in both Samoa and Fiji with regards to spinal injuries. Can you think about some issues that were raised last night?
I think it was the support from organizations. I don't know in Fiji if they do. I'm pretty sure there is, but I'm not really sure about it. But I think from what I gathered last night was more of a support for equipments and for rehabs, aftercare, and just donating. Last night's fundraiser, we raised about 300K last night, which was an awesome amount to support Fiji and Samoa. And I just want to, give out my hearty thank you, Vinaka Vakalevu, to all those who actually came in and supported this great cause. Yeah,
Can you remember if there was some data or some figure released last night about how many how many cases of spinal injuries in Fiji are there in Samoa? Can you sort of recall, or do you have a rough number of? Do you have some in Fiji at the moment, like some really serious cases?
In Fiji, I saw there was about 3 cases. One of them was from Australia. He actually went over. Can't remember his name. He went over to continue to do his rugby career to support his family back in Fiji.
And now it's vice versa.
So his family is taking care of him, and that broke me, because for him to come back, he was so intentional going over to Australia and then play rugby. That was his career, to support his family. But it's just so heartbreaking to see. Then the family is taking care of him, and with this fundraising, it'll be a very good cause for them, to help them to support this family back at home, to take care of this rugby player. Yeah, but I'm sure there's some others in Fiji which hasn't been highlighted yet, but in Samoa there is. And and Richie McCaw, he actually gave in a great speech about this spinal injury. So I'm just waiting upon anyone from Fiji. I'm sure there is someone to come up and just cause an awareness and talk about this spinal injury. Yeah.
Now we've been talking and we've been mentioning the term spinal injury. Yeah? We are not experts in the human anatomy. Why is spinal injury so damaging to a person's life?
Yes.
Do you want to elaborate? Do you know a bit about that?
Yeah, just a little bit. Basically, there's no movement and all the nerve endings are all dead. And, there's just no rehab after that. I have a cousin who had spinal injuries from playing rugby. And it's so amazing here in New Zealand. She got the support. She was told that she will never walk again. But then the rehab and everything that's here in New Zealand, it's great, and she's walking. She came to the gala dinner last night, and because she knows what was it like to be in that place. So she came, and it was really great for her to come and see and to support this good cause. Yes.
After the limelight, after all the hoo-has of the good high-end rugby game, and then all these things just sets in suddenly, and then they are returned to their families. Why is it important to encourage the family despite the fact that they are not playing again? Why? Because they have a very big role in looking after them every day, day in and day out. So do you think support should also be directed towards family?
Oh, of course, yes, should. That's what they need. That's what, especially the ones that are involved with that spinal.
Because there'll be no more clubs.
Yes.
There'll be no more overseas contracts.
Yeah.
There's no more money. He's got no other friends except family.
Yes. And for us Fijians, the biggest thing is the loloma. We have this compassion in us, that's built in us, that we go out of our way to support and to care for such cases like this. And as for, I haven't been in their shoes yet to talk about, what's it like to be injured and lying there. That I have to really, last night's gala dinner fundraiser was a big thing that I have to go back and think hard about these things and cause awareness and support the family back at home, especially the ones that are facing this.
And now that you have attended that event last night, and you now had a knowledge of all the stakeholders that are involved. I've been hearing some big names, Eric Rush, Richie McCaw, Temuera Morrison. What do you think is in place for Fiji and Samoa, probably say in the next 5 to 10 years, in terms of help, probably grants or health assistance?
If only.
Is there a future there?
Yeah, there will be a lot of future. Future into this, because now that there's awareness, out there. I hope that the Fiji government will look into this. The government is great, so I'm pretty sure that they will get into this, and I'm sure that they have already. But then these are the little gala dinners. These are all the little fundraising that's just going to come in and add on to these. So yeah, I see a big brighter future for the spinal injuries. Yes, and in fact, not only spinal injuries, other injuries as well. Apart from spinal injuries, there's other injuries like accidents, So that will be also looked into by this particular fundraiser. Yeah.
Before we finish, I'll just try and go back very, very briefly to the details of what you do in your role in terms of these types of serious injuries. Can you relate your work to these injuries, like them occurring or not?
Basically, my role is to relieve tension of the muscle, especially when they had a hard day training, contact, and training up at the sand dunes, and they come back and they're really tired and exhausted. That's basically my role. Not further than that.
Right.
That's physio.
Right.
So for my role, if a player comes in and say, okay, I really need my calf muscle, it's really tight. So I'm always really careful with attending to that muscle. I make sure that my team is doing a deep, comfortable, deep flush, so that we don't injure the player or injure the muscle more. Or it's more like a good pain, not something that to inflict pain, more pain into the muscle. So that's basically my role, is to just relieve tension of the muscle and do a lot of flushing. And then straight after that, because I also we release toxins and lactic acid off the muscle as well. So I get to recommend to the players after each massage is to scull a bottle of water to flush that toxin and lactic acid. So when they come the next day, they fit.
Like they're ready for
that. Another session.
For the session ahead of them.
Ahead of them, because basically what the toxins and lactic acid does, it really restricts the muscles from moving. So that's basically my role.
Which is why they're tight at times.
Yes. Okay. Sometimes, it's food, what you eat. And in our food chain right now, there's a lot of chemicals in there. And you just don't know what you're eating. It's always good to eat organic stuff. And I quite like how these rugby players, I see their meals are very healthy. It's a lot of greens, and it's just so good to see them eating minimal, not like not like how we eat,
like a mountain Fijian plate.
That will make them. It'll be harder for them to run on the field. So yeah, so basically I just go in and do that for them, and they feel better the next day. Yeah.
Just before we go, there are probably some out there who are also interested in the field that you're in.
Yes.
Probably young girls or young mothers. Don't know, probably some young men.
Yes.
And maybe it would be good to hear from you yourself, giving them a word of encouragement, and insight into what you do. And there is a future in that, not only in playing the sports, but in looking after the very people who are making us famous in that sports.
Yes. I just want to encourage young men and women in general, not to lose hope, not to lose faith in God. Keep yourself focused in God in whatever you do. I'd like to share that scripture in Matthew chapter 6 verses 33. It says, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God in his righteousness, and all these will be added unto you. So you cannot go out there with your own knowledge and your own will, and when you add everything unto the Lord, when you add God into your cycle, into everything, your career path or anything, God will answer that. God will come through in your prayers or whatever the desires of your heart is. So I just want to encourage every young man and women out there to just rise up, because no one else can do that for you, only God.